Hey babes, how are we all going? Oh my gosh, isn't it crazy times with everything shutting, and here in Oz we're probably getting closer and closer to this isolation and full lockdown. Been an interesting time and there's a lot of stress. I've had personally some moments myself where I've kind of been freaking out and thinking, oh my god, how does this actually work? I haven't had any clients lately. Financially, I spent my entire savings on my daughter's operation last week, which was a very last minute unknown sort of thing that I wasn't supposed to have. So there's definitely a lot of stress going on in the air. Hey Trace, how are you, babe? And a lot of people losing their jobs, a lot of people, fearing this virus because it's so unknown, which, I totally get. And I was reading some information, watching a podcast this morning about the coronavirus versus COVID-19. And I just want to remind you guys that the coronavirus itself isn't all that dangerous. It's if it develops and becomes COVID-19, which is basically the lung complication, which eventually leads to pneumonia. And that causes the shortness of breath, the breathing difficulties. And that's a bit more serious. And obviously that is far more likely to occur in people who are immune compromised and people who, have pre-existing problems, cancers, diabetes, asthma potentially, and those sorts of things. So how are we all going? I'd love you guys to comment if you're stressing out, freaking out. There's a lot going on. So as you probably saw, I think I posted on my Instagram, my little darling 4-year-old daughter had major dental surgery done last Thursday. So she had to go under a general anaesthetic, and she recovered okay from that. But just Tuesday, so she had the surgery on the Thursday, and she had the Tuesday, so 4 days later, she woke up and she was like really high temperature, so a 39.9 degree temperature, and went up to 40 in a couple of times. And this actually lasted for the entire day. So that was from waking up, I don't think she woke up about 7, and it wasn't until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon that the fever broke. So that was a bit of a scary day in light of everything that was going on. Now, to this day, obviously, I do not know if she's been exposed to coronavirus. She hasn't been overseas, she hasn't been around anyone, but how do we know? They talk a lot about children not being exposed, but she could have been exposed in the hospital, obviously. So obviously keeping her very isolated. She had a sore throat as well, but it was mostly the main temperature. And she was listless the entire day. She did not even open her mouth to speak, barely at all. She couldn't even cry because she was just like out to it. Her whole body was pale and she couldn't even move. So it was a bit of a scary day. So what I did with her is I gave her 1 ml of liposomal vitamin C every single hour. And then come 5 o'clock when my housemates got home from school, my one housemate came home earlier, and they could not believe the difference. She was up and about again. She felt like eating. She hadn't eaten anything all day. And the dramatic turnaround, the drop in her temperature so it was a good 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. So it was a long stint of a high fever, but dramatic recovery. The next day, you wouldn't have even thought she had anything wrong with her. Her was sick. So no sore throat, no cough, nothing. So I just want you guys to know that, liposomal vitamin C is the real deal. So the reason it's so good is because of the phospholipid component of it that it's bound to. It essentially can be absorbed straight into the cell from the digestive system. It doesn't have to go through the full digestive process. So it doesn't have to go through the liver, because they say 20 to 40% of vitamin C is absorbed. If we're taking it liposomal, you're getting like maximum 100% absorption, and it's instant, and it can hang around in the cell for a lot longer because normal vitamin C is water soluble. When we have it as a liposomal, which is a more fat soluble version, it is far, 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 far better. Trace has been on Camo, awesome. So Camo, for those who don't know, is a natural source of vitamin C. Any vitamin C you can be taking right now to boost your immune system is going to be beneficial, along with other herbs, a lot of other vitamins. Zinc's another great one. Taking them to boost your immune system. So I'm personally keeping the liposomal vitamin C for emergency situations like Halo's situation on Tuesday because it works so fast actively. Any of the other cheap vitamin C I can get my hands on at the moment, I'm utilizing just to boost our immune system to prevent things. But the liposomal C will do the same as prevention. If you have it, I would be taking maybe 2 meals twice a day just to prevent. But if you actually have an illness, if you get sick, if you come down with anything, if you take, a dose every hour until you feel fully recovered, you will feel amazing. And it is the best, safest thing. I don't have any fear around the coronavirus for myself. I'm not immune compromised, but also because I know I have the liposomal C. I had another girl that I was chatting to yesterday, and she'd been sick for 6 days straight. She came and picked up some. She dosed it every hour she had about 6-7 doses until I got a text message saying, oh my God, I feel human again. So it's fast acting and it works really, really well. Doing all that I can to get as much of it as possible for you guys. The one product that I have been able to source, I'm keeping it really affordable. You know, if you look at the Bioceuticals Liposomal C, which is 200 mils, it retails for about $70. I'm selling mine for $48, so I'm not making a lot of profit at all. It's essentially my only income at the moment though, so I do appreciate you ordering from me while I'm not able to see clients. So I know we're all doing the best we can. You know, there's a lot of people that have been hit hard, a lot of fear going on. And, you know, I just want you to all know that we need to band together. We need to keep in touch. We need to use things like social media to stay in touch and chat with one another and talk things over. I will reorder more liposomal Cs as can. With the supplier I've got, I can only order in batches of 28, which is, for me, at a wholesale price, it's costing me about $1,000 to place an order. So this is why I need people to buy up front, because I can't place orders with people paying up front. So it's amazing that people are texting me saying, hey, can you put one aside for me? Actually, what I need you to do is go to my website and actually make the purchase and make the payment come through so I can keep ordering the stock to keep supplying you guys. Like I said, I spent the remainder of all the money in my savings on an over a $5,000 surgery for Halo the other day. So very interesting time that should occur right on the brink of this economic crisis. But, you know, so I've got a lot of reasons to freak out right now without the, you know, the safety net in my bank account. But we just got to surrender through this. We've just got to trust. I know it's scary what's going on, and it doesn't make any sense right now, you know. And I'd love to say it's all happening for a reason. I do believe that, but I know a lot of people will get pissed off by that because it's very hard to see a reason right now when you're seeing people around you suffer. But I do believe that this is going to be a massive upheaval. You know, we're going to have a lot of time to really think about what's right for us, what we mean, what is, you know, setting us on our right path. You know, if you're playing small in life, if you're in jobs that you don't like, in relationships that don't make you happy, crisis brings us to call upon action, to bind together, to really have a good hard look at our life and what is important to us, what's our priority. And I do know that we're going to get through this, hopefully sooner rather than later, but maybe we are in for a 6-month long haul. And, you know, I do think on the other side of it, there will be a lot of good to come and a lot of lives changed, which in the short term is going to be scary as hell. But I do believe on the other side it is going to be amazing. So we just have to band together, ride the wave. Please send me messages if you're stressing out and need anything. I'm here to help. If you have particular topics that you would like me to do, I can make videos on stuff from my home, obviously. That's one thing I can do in isolation. So please consider liposomal vitamin C, wherever you can get it from. Doesn't matter, you know, obviously I'm doing my best to provide you guys with it, but, you know, if you can get it online, other places, go for it. I don't know how long it's going to be till you'll even be able to set foot in health food stores. You know, everything's closing pretty rapidly. So act fast, you know, don't take this whole situation too lightly. It is scary, it is big, but you do need to have your wits about you. You do need to be prepared. But at the same time, we do need you to have that element of faith and trust, because if we're in that fear vibration, we're in that fight and flight, we're suppressing our immune system, we're making irrational decisions, we're not living and breathing from a space of love, and we're not connecting with humans the way we're meant to. So please, 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 just take each day as it comes, reach out, use your community, and stay safe. Big love to you all. Mwah.